Hello everybody and just here and welcome back to Isekai Shikkaku episode 5, right? Yeah, episode 5, in which seemingly, probably, uh, actually, we are either going to have an episode of a break, so to speak, right? An episode where we just do some slice of life shenanigans, I don't know, yeah, let it not create a reflection. I don't know, we get to a new city, have fun there, some funny shenanigans, stuff like that, right? Or we are gonna jump into the next arc straight up, because the previous arc has kind of sort of ended, right? That mini arc with standing up to the other worlders, or whatever you want to call it. We'll see, right? We'll see. In the previous episode, what happened exactly? Well, the biggest part was at the end, probably. So let's just quickly go through what happened in order. What actually happened in order? uh, right. Suzuki, turns out he had the power to control creatures and people and animals and monsters and everything with just his touch. And he mind controlled Annette, mind controlled Tama, mind controlled a bunch of other monsters and sent them after the villagers, or townsfolk rather, when they said that they're not gonna, just succumb to him. They're not just gonna tout him the king and the ruler of the area. They're gonna fight. And so he did take that fight. And the city was basically just set on fire, right? Everybody was running for their lives. Plenty of people probably died. So would have Osamu, if not for a bit of funny shenanigans, where Tama attacked him and started pounding on the armor he was wearing, or rather he was hidden inside of. And with one of her punches, the helmet popped off and hit her in the head and knocked her out. So that's how Osamu won that fight. He stabbed Tama into the barrel and left her there. Then he met up with what's her face, with Isha, and they decided to go to the temple that Suzuki made his fortress to hopefully stop this madness. And Isha agreed because, there was nobody else really to help her, right? There was only Osamu, and he's another worlder, so surely he has some way to go about it, right? They got there and defended themselves from a couple of attacks as well. A couple of lesser wolves were swiftly dispatched by Isha. Then a big wolf attacked. Yeah, the big wolf attacked with some fireball kind of attack, fire breath thing, and that's where Melos appeared wearing the helmet and reflected that back to the wolf. Kotaro ran away in panic, and Suzuki pulled out his trump card, that trump card being mind-controlled Annette. Now, thanks to the power of the Nakama, although not really, right? More like thanks to the power of therapy. I can't really find any better description for it. Self-improvement, coaching, I guess you could say, right? Osamu told Annette that, you are your own person, you make decisions for yourself, there's nobody else to control you but you, and all that stuff made her waver and eventually break out of Suzuki's spell. She was in a bad shape though, so she promptly fainted. Isha caught her, she was busy with her. Osamu went up to Suzuki and prevented Suzuki from committing sewer slide. So that was, on one hand, that was very very unusual, right? Because Osamu, the man who glorifies the act so much, prevented someone from doing so, right? As it turns out, he was really into the story, right? Into the story of Suzuki The story of a man who got so much power that it devoured him, and yet he could neither become the hero nor the villain, and eventually succumbed to the power that he got without working for it, or something like that. Very scary moment for Suzuki, for sure. We learned a little bit about him. We learned that Suzuki was being bullied at school. He was an outcast. He was generally an outcast, right? And that's why he was so sad that the Isekai track took pity on him and took him to the other world, where he got the power of controlling others, right? His life was controlled by other people all this time, and so he got a power that would compensate for his life, essentially, right? For the bad things that happened to him. Which is an interesting mechanic for getting powers, right? I can only assume that Kotaro, for example, was living in abject poverty, and that's why he has the power to create money out of nothing, right? Maybe. Then Osamu finally finished writing his work, but it could not yet be called a masterpiece. So he tore it down, and before that he signed it with like a drop of his blood, titled it no longer allowed in another world, with his blood, and that triggered some sort of a spell when he tore out the pages, and that spell sent Suzuki back to his home world. And apparently, from what Isha noticed, that spell, or that ability rather, only appears conditionally. Most probably only when Osamu is inspired, and when he is inspired by another worlder, right? He gains temporarily the ability to send them back to the OG world, but we don't really know how that whole thing works, right? We have a sample size of 1, kind of hard to make any predictions. And then they got a new casket for the sensei, and they set off to further travels, further journeys towards the next temple. There was an interesting theory in the comments under the previous episode regarding the nature of Osamu's power, that it might have something to do with the stories, right? Because his power is called like writer or storyteller or story writer, right? Something like that is the name of his power, and the name of his class is, I believe, also writer. And that prompted me to create a, I think, very interesting theory. What if Sensei's power, Sensei's gift, or whatever they call it, was allowing the story to continue, right? Something along those lines. Let me note it down. Sensei's gift is making stories continue, right? Because at the end he sent Suzuki back to his OG world, and he seems to have turned his life around, right? He got a job, he got a person that is a little bit more, good to him, right? So Suzuki's story continues. He did not die in the other world, right? He was not dismembered by the angry townsfolk or anything like that. That's where his story would have ended, but it had a chance to continue. Maybe it also has something to do with Osamu being resistant to poison and seemingly resistant to death, right? Because it's also his ability to get the story to continue. That's why conveniently Tama knocked herself out. That's why conveniently Melos appeared wearing the helmet and protected Osamu from the fire breath, right? He has like literally plot armor, as someone in the comments mentioned. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name. Yeah, probably his power has something to do with just making the story continue, be it through plot armor or through convenient events or through making other people's story continue, right? Maybe. And it would make sense, right? Because he was about to end his story, essentially, and the story of someone else when he was isekai'd. So the power he got would be a reversal of what made him so unhappy that he got isekai'd, right? I think it makes sense. We'll see, of course, in the future, in this episode and further. But to do that, we're gonna have to watch it, right? And to do it, you're gonna need your subs to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show. And I'm gonna have to ask you for support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, costs you nothing, helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching episode 5 of Isekai Shikkaku in 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, Zoiberberg. And we're going to Sontag. So we're going like clockwise. I thought we're gonna be going counterclockwise, yeah. Isha, hello. Or is it just Isha meeting with others? Oh, she's reporting her findings that there is someone who can potentially send other worlders back, right? Bishop. So is every one of them a bishop? Interesting. Goblin? That's a very big goblin. A hobgoblin, perhaps? Archbishop? Cardinal. I guess Annette is not taking part in it. Right, she essentially ran from the job, right? That's how it's treated, right? She did not give in her notice, just disappeared. Still has the hat, apparently, though, so... I really like this opening. Yeah, now tearing the pages makes sense, right? We have a context for it. And the pages, yep. And all sorts of stories portrayed on those pages, right? Wheelchair and a crane. Could it be that one of the other worlders he's gonna send back was maybe like in a wheelchair in the OG world, and in this world they became like super strong, something like that, right? I'm assuming that is Annette's seat. Annette's replacement? I love the face on the goblin. Yep, Annette's replacement. Or I don't want to call it a replacement, rather like a... Oh, they call it replacement. Okay, sure. No qualms. No, not really. And she's gonna get worse over time. Does it now? Is that where the Pope resides? Every land has like a element to it. We had fire, now we have earth. Someone has the jurisdiction over water. Forest and wind, yep. Oh, some new development. Did they discover that the Demon King was replaced by another worlder? I mean, yeah, that's probably prudent. So where is the truck gonna be sending them now? To another world? Like a different another world? Yeah, that's a problem, isn't it? Declaration of war? Unlikely. Then again, I mean, maybe. They might have some, you know, knowledge from modern Japan. I don't know. No, no, they're just human. Mm-hmm. And Osamu is essentially their only salvation here. He's gonna be traveling, getting rid of the 7 generals, and then getting rid of the lead of the gang. Probably befriending Valdelia along the line. Yeah, again, they're only human. They're not like universally good angels. Like this. That's how you can fight them, potentially. Mm-hmm. Yeah, problem is we don't fully understand his gift. We don't know what triggers it. Well, aren't you a pretty boy? Isha's brother? Closed eyes. Either a secret villain or a secret badass. Nothing in between. Satchan? Well, that is Satchan. Being a villainess. Would you look at that? Okay, so they're gonna be split apart, so Osamu can be picking them out one by one. And who are you? Another otherworlder with the power to generate unlimited wine? You really should get some wheels. It's like basically what was the game that had the like leveling system where you if you jump a lot you level up your jumping. Was it early Bethesda games? No, it wasn't Morrowind, was it? I think it might have been Gothic. Might have been Gothic. Right, so a adventurers guild. About that, I guess you didn't hear the news yet. Right, of course. Yeah, this gag is not gonna get old, is it? It's not inaccurate, though. And Otherworlder we're gonna have to get rid of eventually. That would be my bet. Or Nier is gonna bring himself with a sword. Yeah, really, consider wheels. Or a cart. Or at least like slide things. Yeah, safe to assume. Mmm. Right, there probably aren't any heroes in this little backwater town. Yeah, you could say that. Hmm. I think Osamu might be able to help him with a good word. Yep. Time for correction. Oh. He does have a sword, though. Very cool looking sword. His father's, I would assume. Is that our people? Or just a bunch of randos? Randos. Probably nothing good. Oh, they are Otherworlders? Okay. Interesting. That's just a crossbow, my dude. That's hardly overpowered. Or maybe. Okay. Osamu? I don't think he's gonna be able to just, you know, casually send them back. So. Oh, hello, Osamu. I guess it was able to pierce a dragon, but not his knee. Oh, I like the music. Yeah. Notice how the poison is not doing anything to him, though. Music to his ears. Oh? Oh. So that gives him some sort of a boost. The anticipation of death. I mean, sure, that is one conclusion you could have come up to. Not by choice. He did save a town, yeah, but not for something so grand as being a hero. That's an interesting and sad outlook on it, isn't it? Which, I mean, perfectly on brand. Childlike wonder. Apparently, it would kind of, destroy the gravitas of the situation if he were to turn around, right? So, can't have that. Yeah, just back to sleep. Here's the warrior that was promised. He has a sword, right? Trainee swordsman. Well, that's hardly a, hero warrior, but better than nothing, I guess. They could use another frontliner. They have Tama, she'd be like a brawler or a monk, right? Annette is just a mage. She has those like paladin-like pauldrons, but she's not much of a frontliner. Nier would be the warrior, duh, and Osamu. If this anime had a collab with Arknights, he'd be a ritualist supporter. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. So, another... Yeah, we didn't really start another arc. We had like a one self-sufficient? No. Self-enclosed? No. Self-contained, yeah. Self-contained episode. Now we're gonna enter a new arc. And an overarching arc of another goal, like explicitly stated, getting rid of the Otherworlders, right? The voices in his head. Right. Such is the nature of life. Depressing, isn't it? Yeah, and he probably could use some XP, right? It's been established that dragging the coffin gives you XP, so probably not the fastest way to grind it, but better than nothing. Her hometown? Or infamous? Infamous. Melos is useful, making a bed and whatnot. Could probably transform into a key, couldn't he? Oh, that's it. Just ended on a freeze frame. That's always confusing when a show ends on a freeze frame, because I don't know if it's supposed to be a freeze frame and it continues, or is it actually the end? Let's watch it again, though, shall we? Right. So we see the map, and I'm assuming we're going... Can you see my cursor? No, you can't see my cursor. When I do this... No, can't see it either. Oh well, I'm assuming we started like here, right? Or here-ish. And now we are here, right? Here. That's the tree place, right? Actually, I think it shows their location at the beginning. Okay, right. So we are here, and then by the end of the episode, they got to the tree place. So now they're gonna have to cross this strait and get to the desert place and to the temple here. Yeah. Oh yeah, I can see the temples. Never mind. It makes sense. They all look the same on this map. That's the temple where we started. This is Isha's temple. That's the desert temple. Then there's a island without a temple. Then we have a temple here, and the like Vatican. Gotcha. Sontag. Papal State, Vice Cathedral. Yeah, I guess the whatchamacallit, the bishops also have their fair share of trouble, and they also are human, ultimately. Very interesting design for a goblin, with this, like, I don't know what it is that he has around his head. Is it sort of a veil attached to his hat? Is it what passes for a hair among goblins? Is it his ears? I don't know why, but it really looks like big floppy ears to me. Kinda. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we're gonna see him without a hat eventually. If it is some sort of a head covering, then it's odd that others do not have it, but sure. Each region making a report. 4 regions and the Papal State, apparently. And a new hire replacing Annette. Ersten Temple, Bishop Arya. Nothing to report. Mountains and flames. Yeah, so there's fire. There is Virten. That is Virten. Or Verten. Whatever. And that is... I think that would be water, right? Because of all the canals and whatnot. And nothing to report. Peaceful place. And Driten Temple is probably our next target, right? If we're going counterclockwise. And we seem to be. Samstag, Holy Land of Deserts and Earth. There are dwarves, apparently, there. And Isha's land is forests and wind. Interesting that there would be like 2 temples on the same like landmass. I don't know. This tree is curious here. It is very clearly different and more elaborate. It's like the Yggdrasil, something like that, the Tree of Life, maybe. Yeah, Otherworlders went on a rampage. Wrathful Dark Lord was defeated. Interesting new tidbit about the mechanic of Otherworlders. All this time, I thought that the Otherworld is essentially a theme park, right? You're depressed, you get a free ticket to a theme park where you get to roleplay your fantasies, make up for all the bad things that happened in your life, and have some fun, like, right? Like, live your own power fantasy. And that's why the Otherworlders come here, they defeat the Dark Lord. Then when the Dark Lord is defeated, there's a period of peace, Otherworlder dies a natural death, another Dark Lord rises, they invite another Otherworlder, right? And the cycle just continues and repeats. But apparently, they are summoning the Otherworlders, yeah, for the explicit purpose of defeating the Demon Lord after all. And the Demon Lord being defeated is like the desired result. And the desired result after the Demon Lord has been defeated is the Otherworlders like cease to come to this world. They are no longer necessary. We no longer need to use them, to use their help. which is like a classic approach to it, for the lack of a better term. 7 otherworlders who defeated the wrathful Dark Lord. Yeah, that is Satchan. That is absolutely Satchan. We don't really see the person to the very right either. The dude in the middle has some blood on him. Oh, that's the Demon Lord. I thought it's the next Otherworlder who took the throne. Yeah, there's 1 on the very left, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, all 7 on screen. And yeah, they've claimed the Dark Lord's lands and become its new rulers, apparently. With our might, we shall transform all the lands of Zoiberberg into a utopia. Now, ain't that interesting, right? Because if you think about it, that's like entirely plausible. Entirely possible for them to actually make Zoiberberg a better place. They come from modern day Japan. They know like modern agricultural techniques, modern stuff in general, right? Like, I don't claim that every single one of them has like a PhD in farming or something, right? But even any standard person, any normal person you take off the street will know something that people in the Middle Ages did not, right? Like, everybody knows basically what bacteria are, right? And why hygiene is important, right? Pretty much everybody universally knows about it in our world. And that knowledge in the Middle Ages would be revolutionary. That you can prevent illnesses by washing your hands. Most people, okay, maybe I'm overestimating, but at least some people know how soap is made, right? They might not know the name saponification, but they know that if you mix strong base and fat, you get soap. And strong base you can get from lye, for example, or even just ash, wood ash, mix it with water, heat it up, throw in some, I don't know, some whatever fat, and you get soap. That alone would be revolutionary in the Middle Ages, and many people know about that. Many people know that you probably should not eat food that might be spoiled, which sure might have been like a common knowledge back then, but modern processes of preserving food might not have been, right? Stuff like that. Plenty of things that we know and take for granted on the daily were not known there. So it's entirely possible that those otherworlders might have made Zoiberberg a better place. Problem is, are they the heroes or are they the villains? Right? Because so far they are presenting themselves as villains. So chances are that even if they were to introduce soap to this world, they would at the same time raise 15 villages and kidnap 200 young girls, right? It's entirely possible that that's how it would have gone, and that's not really a worthy price to pay for soap, especially in a world that has healing magic and stuff. So, right, but the possibility technically is there. Just maybe not by declaring yourselves rulers and kings, but rather saying, hey, we're gonna take this demon land, we're gonna stay here. You're not gonna do anything with it anyway, so might as well give it to us. We're gonna share our technology with you, we're gonna live a good life, right? Rather than, I'm taking the demon lord's throne and I will introduce you savages to, right? And the essentially declaration of war. Pope believed the Otherworlders were angels sent to save our world. One would think that after this much time, and we know that the Otherworlders were not always easy to deal with, right? Isha is like completely and totally disillusioned with them. One would think that after this much time of like empirical evidence, they would understand that, you know, otherworlders are not angels, they're just only human. They get easily corrupted, they get easily, you know, power easily gets to their head. They're not that different from you and I. He considers his own children have now bared their fangs against him. Declaration of war, yeah. 7 fallen angels. Oh, do we get a better look at all of them? Yeah, a wizard witch mage, a doom guy with a shield, a dark knight kind of person. Oh, and we don't learn about any more of them. And Valdelia, of course, who will most probably just become a friend, and we're gonna take her as a part of the party. Probably not by the end of this season, but if season 2 comes, then I can see that happening. 7 fallen angels, Dark Lord's daughter. How are we meant to fight? Well, there might just about be a way. And apparently they never heard of magic or power that was able to send otherworlders back. I would have thought that they might have, you know, they have a summoning ritual, so they might have a ritual to send them back. But maybe it's like super complex or something, but it doesn't seem like they had any sort of way to do that. And yeah, such a power exists, right? Sensei seems to be the only person to have this sort of power. Isha, my friend. I don't know why, but I don't trust him. Maybe it's just anime that conditioned me towards that, you know, the more holy someone looks, the more holy someone behaves, the higher a chance there is that it's just a mask, right? And church is never good, the Pope is always evil, right? That's usually how it goes in anime. That I just immediately assume that he has some, you know, that it's just a mask and he's evil underneath. But maybe not, maybe I'm wrong. Now, this is an interesting reveal that Satchan did actually make it to the other world, that she is actually waiting for Osamu, and that she joined the Otherworlders in their quest to destroy the Demon Lord. And that would mean that she has a significant, important, big, powerful power. I wonder what could it be, though, right? I wonder what could it be. I wonder. That would actually be poetic, wouldn't it? If at the end of this story, Satchan used her power, that is, I don't know, however strong or whatever, and Osamu tried to stop her, or try to, I don't know, cancel her power or whatever, and they would just both die as an effect, but saving the people around. Maybe something like that, right? Like poetic sacrifice to help others, but also both Satchan and Osamu getting exactly what they desired, right? The like double suicide. Might be onto something. Satchan and Osamu end up committing double suicide after all. Alternatively, which would also be an interesting way to go about it, Osamu learns the joys of life, while Satchan does not. She is stuck in her mindset of, you know, we gotta commit the sewer slide, we gotta do that. You are here, Osamu, my dear, and just, you know, complete fucking yandere mode. But Osamu doesn't want to do that anymore. Could also be a thing. Maybe. Satchan wants to go through with Suicide. Osamu. No longer does. Maybe. Unlikely, but maybe. New place. Yeah, apparently you get levels for dragging a coffin. I mean, I wouldn't look a gifted horse in the mouth. Might as well get some additional levels, right? And now the team seems to be complete. With Nier joining it. There isn't really any place for anybody else, so again, I don't think Valdelia is going to join us. Otherworlder Dispatch Service, which is basically an early version of whatchamacallit, Adventurers Guild, right? But like specifically for Otherworlders. 40,000 Geniko. How did you even get this much money, Annette? Dead man. Yeah, I really like the gag of people assuming that there is a dead body in the coffin and then Osamu just rises. Yeah, I'm someone who wishes to die, not someone who's already dead. Make the distinction, learn the difference. Heroes don't have faces that look like verdigris. Who the fuck is the verdigris? Bright bluish green encrustation or patina formed on copper or brass by atmospheric oxidation. Huh. Why would he specify verdigris of on a sword? I thought verdigris on a sword was like a part of the sword, right? Like, I don't know, some fancy pommel or something like that. But no, he just means patina, essentially. I'll bring you a real adventure, so wait for me at the inn. Yeah, Tama is happy. Perfect cat face. Yeah, of course he won't be returning. He had the eyes of an adult. Right. An orphan who started living in town at some point makes a living fooling visitors. Town's nuisance. The heroes he talks about must not exist. If such great people truly exist, why won't they save him? Very interesting that someone as... What's the word you use for someone who's like disillusioned with humanity? Misanthrope, right? That's the word, right? It's interesting that for someone as misanthropic and in general, you know, depressed and disillusioned and seeking out death, like Osamu was actually touched by this, this sentence that if such great people really exist, why won't they save him? It really did something to Osamu, and I wonder if it's part of his change or what is it exactly. Again, I would assume that's his father's sword. Friend who cried wolf, eh? I have otherworlders who are my friends. Well, we are otherworlders, and we ain't your friends. Lies rarely go far, do they? Mad Gear. And Osamu Ex Machina. I love how just casually, completely blasé he is. Just appears there, moves the crossbow. It's really cool, you know? In that... I don't know how to best put it into words, but I really find something about his complete disregard for his life appealing in a way, where it allows him to perform actions that would otherwise not make sense, right? Because why would you risk doing that? It's completely unrealistic that anybody would risk doing that. Well, not in this case. He doesn't give a fuck about him dying or living. So it makes sense for him to gamble with his own life, because either outcome is perfectly fine by him, right? I like it. I really, really like it. People like you shouldn't be called heroes, right? And there is like something to his worldview now where it's still very, again, very misanthropic, or maybe I'm just misunderstanding or like, I don't know, mistaking it for something else. And yet he holds certain ideals still. He's not one of the people who are like, free will is dead. Heroism is dead. He's not completely, what's the word for it? Nihilist. Yeah, he's not a nihilist. That's what I find interesting. He still upholds the ideals of heroes, right? You do not behave like a hero. You should not be called a hero. There's a certain specific ideal of a hero that I subscribe to, and you're not it, right? There are certain things that adults should and should not do. There are things that we should take care of around children, right? There are those like moral guidelines that still guide him. I think that's what I find the most appealing about his character here. He might be suicidal and misanthropic and depressed, but he's not nihilistic. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Go to analyze. Underworlder, poisoned with low HP. I will make you suffer and then I'll kill you. Yeah, music to his ears. I wonder if it's another, like, power of his. When he hears a threat of death, he gets, like, a huge boost in vitality, of all things. Is it a separate thing, where the closer he is to death, the more resistant to death he becomes? That's a thought. That's a thought. The closer Osamu is to death, the more resistant to death he becomes. Same with the poison, right? When he took the first poison pill, that might have dropped his HP by half. Then he took another that dropped it by half. And now he can just eat it like fucking Tic Tacs and it's not gonna drop his HP below 1. Because he's this close to dying, and so his resistance to dying is like this. Maybe it's something like that, or maybe it's a part of his gift that I like initially theorized about, continuing the story, right? The closer his story is to ending prematurely, the more resistant it becomes to that ending, or something like that. Super excited stay. I mean, yeah, you could say that. Such a dandy plan. Make sure you aim right here. I mean, it is a method of scaring away people who might be trying to hurt you. It's like, kind of legitimate to a degree. Like, legitimately, if you don't take it as an advice or anything, because I have no like way of validating that claim, but so I heard that a way of getting out of a sticky situation, like someone trying to rob you or something like that, is to behave as a completely fucking deranged psycho, right? Start undressing, start doing all sorts of shit to scare that person off, not by intimidation, but by just the sheer weirdness of it. So I heard that it works, and in this case it did actually work. So adults are youths who have been betrayed. I heard a different definition of being an adult that I really actually like. can't remember where I heard it. No, can't remember. Oh, it was Dragon Maid. Yeah, it was in Dragon Maid, and I think Kobayashi said it. I think it was in the beach episode in season 1. Right. Yep. I think that was it. How did it go? You don't just magically become an adult. There simply comes a time where you can no longer be a child. Something along those lines, right? Like every single one of us is still the same person they were as a child. I don't think of myself as an adult. Not really. I'm fucking 30 and I really don't think of myself as an adult. But there does come a time where you just can no longer, spend the entire day outside playing with your friends, because it's either unbecoming by society standards or because you have to spend that time working a job, right? There are like certain limitations that start appearing in our life, and that is what makes us unable to continue being children, which doesn't necessarily mean we are adults. But this is also an interesting definition. Adults are youths who have been betrayed. I can also see that, right? Adults are youths who have been betrayed. You are young, you are innocent, you are trusting, you think that, the world is a good place, and you think that you can forever spend the time with your bestest of friends and have fun playing in puddles, but then it turns out your bestest of friends just kind of flake off and they no longer are around. And then you try playing around with puddles and you are being judged for that. And you're betrayed by your friends, you're betrayed by the society, you're betrayed by the way the world works, and you lose that childhood innocence, that childhood wonder. And that's what makes an adult. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that as well, for sure. But you're still a child, you're not ready to become an adult yet. That's the look you should have in your eyes. The look of childhood wonder, exactly. But of course, we gotta crack a little joke at the end. Straight to Grun. Had a truly delightful night. Yeah, I mean, he did promise you a warrior. You got a warrior, he has a sword. That makes him a warrior now. And the after credits. Yeah, he's gonna have to start learning what's the deal with Sensei, and he's gonna learn it over time. I knew Tama is gonna be more infamous rather than famous in her town. That was pretty obvious. Melos is very useful. Melos is really fucking useful to have around. Seemingly only listens to Osamu and helps Osamu, even though he's technically a net's pet, but still very useful to have around. For a bed, for a flying carpet. Maybe they're gonna be able to use Melos to get out of the jail cell as well. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see all about that in the next episode. But right now, that's it. My chair is so incredibly fucking squeaky. Hope I have some WD-40 somewhere. Good episode, really. We got a closure to the previous arc, right? We got Isha see the other bishops and tell them about about Osamu, about his skill, how it might help us save the world from the other worlders and all sorts of things like that, right? So that's cool that we got this sort of a closure. And also we got a nice beginning of a new both a beginning of a new small arc, in that we have a next goal. We are on the way to Grun, on the way to the desert area and the next temple. So that's going to be our next arc, right? Getting to the next temple. But also we have properly, explicitly established the overarching thing of getting rid of the other worlders. There are 7 fallen angels, we gotta face all of them and send them all back to save the world, right? And that's another easily quantifiable goal. We have an easily quantifiable goal of visiting all of the temples and asking for Satchan. We have an easily quantifiable goal of defeating all 7 of the fallen angels. Right? Cool. We can actually like track progression now, and I think that matters a lot for a story, because without any goals, stories tend to be aimless, which this show was at the very beginning, right? Like the first episode or 2 were just kind of aimless with that vague goal of finding Satchan. But now I feel like it finally found its bearing, and now it's good. Now it's really good. I'm really enjoying this show. I'm really enjoying the character of Osamu. Really enjoying all of the shenanigans. Sometimes a little bit of like cringe humor, mostly involving Annette. But I'm willing to overlook it because some people probably like it. I'm not particularly fond on, a minute and a half of Annette behaving like a monkey in a zoo, right? But sure, that's fine. That's whatever. Doesn't really matter. We get a new member, Nir. That's going to be an interesting addition to the team. Additions to the team like that are important to show us how much of a team of oddballs the team is. Usually, right? Usually we, the viewers, get used to the shenanigans that our main group is up to. The members of the group also get used to that, and it just kind of, flattens eventually over time, but then they get someone new joining them, and that someone new is questioning all the weird shit that's going on, and that's fun. And Nier has a chance to be a character like that, although it might be a little bit too early to introduce like another straight man character into the group. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. We'll see where his character goes. It could be that Osamu becomes somewhat of a mentor to him. That would be nice to see. Yeah, we'll see. Very interesting that they revealed Satchan so early. I really did not think that she's gonna be like shown and revealed until like the very end, right? Like the very end of the season, they visit the final temple and they get the word of, yes, one named Satchan was here, and she moved out with 6 other adventurers to defeat the Demon Lord. End. Right? Ending the season on a cliffhanger. I expected something like that, but we get a very, very quick reveal, which, I mean, not a bad thing, right? Don't take it as me criticizing the choice they made, but just an interesting choice that I probably would not have made. That's how I'm gonna put it. Overall, very enjoyable episode, very enjoyable series. I had a lot of fun watching it, and did you have fun watching this episode? What did you think of it in general, of my reaction, my theories? Say it all in the comments down below. And no spoilers, please. Spoilers, as always, can go to my Discord here, also in the description. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to be notified of future videos, not only Isekai Shikkaku, but also Spice and Wolf, Bye Bye Earth, Vistoria, QA Isekai, plenty others coming in the future. Click the bell to be notified of when I go live, because I do go live sometimes. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon down below, where for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly on YouTube through memberships, super thanks, super chats, stuff like that. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Without the Net, Zeren, Yuki, Ali, Chibi Bro, Dr. Wataka, Master Marsh, Fazel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to drag any coffins. I probably used that already.